Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally does not work. It is snowing like crazy outside today, so we're actually doing some work here in the man cave, in the workshop here. I've got some cabinets I've got to make. Actually, I've got a lot of stuff coming up here in the workshop I've got to take care of. I've got to build a bar, as well as some TV cabinets, or cabinets to go around a TV. Nobody actually has TV cabinets anymore. And I've got to build like a wall shelving unit that's going to have like cubby holes in it for a little office. And of course, I got to start building. That next locker for downstairs in the man cave. You know, I have actually a lot of skills when it comes to woodworking, and I can build just about anything. And the thing about it is, you need to also have not only the skills, but you actually have to have the tools to do a job. What I always try and look at when I do woodworking and things like that is, if I'm buying a new tool or a new something for my shop, is I look at it and say, will that make the job a better production, as in a better finish on it, or will it save me time and save me money, and so forth. And if you look at and evaluate those things right there, you know, you don't buy a lot of stuff that you don't need, and you always end up getting stuff that basically pays for itself. And as I look around here in my workshop, I've got a lot of tools in here, but pretty much everything in here just about fits that criteria. You can cut a piece of wood with a circular saw, but you're not going to get it as clean cut as a table saw, for example. Okay, you want true edges and everything else to line up, boom, you've got to have that. With a circular saw, yeah, you can build some cabinets with a circular saw, but it ain't going to be easy, and it's not going to be looking professional. So that's how you evaluate where you spend your money. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, they have, like everybody, $190 million that they can spend on the team. And what you ultimately have to do is, because if all things were equal, you would just go out and get the best players at every position and just not worry about how much it costs. That's the way you used to could do business in the NFL. But in today's NFL, with the salary cap where you're only spending X number of dollars, and there's a way to get creative and stuff with it, you know, pay me now or pay me later, one way or the other, you're paying the NFL. But you have to evaluate the team, and when you look at bringing people in, you have to look at it and say, will that player get me a better result on the field? What will it cost me to do that? Am I better off buying a cheaper tool that'll get the job done? Maybe not as professional, but will get me the job completed. And that's the game that's being played right now with the NFL. And as I look at our team, and I'm going to talk about the defense because people have gotten tired of me talking about Dak Prescott, my quarterback. So we have to look at the team as a whole, and we have to look at how can we get the biggest bang for the buck? How can we make that cut that much straighter, that much cleaner? And I look at our defense right now, and of course you guys know I'm the big guy. I love having the big guy in the middle. I love having a lights out safety in the middle. I believe in controlling the middle of the football field. And we know how I feel about having Earl Thomas added to the mix. But if we look back 2 years ago, the biggest failing for that team was not the frontline guys that we had. Our starters were great when they were out there. The problem and the failing was when we went to the second tier. And this is where it gets to be difficult, because you can't overpay for a top line guy and then go bargain basement shopping for the guy that has to replace him if he's hurt. You've got to have quality backups. And see, here's where we have right now. We got lucky because nobody at this time last year knew anything about Antwaun Woods. He started out fourth string on the depth chart. Ended up playing pretty good. Malik Collins, right now this time of the year, he was basically getting another foot surgery. And we didn't know if that guy was going to be able to play. We had Brent Price, who was kind of in. They let him go, thought about bringing him back and things like that. But right now on our roster, as far as tackles, with David Irving not being chased, we've got Antwaun Woods and we got Malik Collins. And if you want to throw in Tyrone Crawford in there, that's it. That's the list. There ain't nobody else. So that's a spot that's going to have to be addressed because you're going to have more than just 3 tackles on the roster. You know, Tyrone Crawford has been steady. He's been good since he got the shoulder stuff worked on. But you need another guy into that mix. And for me personally, what I like is to have a tool or having a couple other different tools that can do the same thing but something a little different. And I know the Dallas Cowboys philosophy is guys that are more athletic at tackle and defensive ends. Guys that can do a lot of stunts and stuff with. But what I would like to see, and I've been screaming it for years, is the big fat guy. The guy who's built like a fire hydrant. You know, if you've ever run into a fire hydrant and your car literally hits it, pops up, you might end up knocking the fire hydrant over and it sprays water all over the place. But you ain't going far past the fire hydrant. I want to see a guy like that, you know? Not necessarily 6'2", 6'4". I want to see a guy that's about 5'11", about 340 pounds, that has a bad attitude. A guy who just wants to eat quarterbacks for lunch. A guy that snarls. A guy when he looks at you, when he lines up over the guard and looks over at the quarterback, that the quarterback literally pees down his leg. Because that kind of guy, you can throw into that rotation. When you know you're going against a team like what the Colts did to us and what the Rams did to us, where they ran up the middle on it because we didn't have that wide body, that guy that was just nasty and mean, you can throw that guy into the mix to plug the middle of the field. And that guy, if he's an immovable force, he's going to make everybody else on that team better. Because understand, it's great to have a cornerback. You know, to have good shutdown cornerbacks. It's great to have linebackers. But here's the thing. If you cannot get to the passer, if you cannot put the fear of God into that passer, if you give him 6 or 7 seconds, I don't care if you got a couple of Deion Sanders back there. Sooner or later, those guys are going to get open. And I'll give you the perfect example of why the cornerbacks aren't as important as the defensive line. Take a look at the New York Giants the last 2 times they won the Super Bowl. That defensive backfield, there were no Pro Bowlers back there. There were no Hall of Famers back there. Hell, they had Jason Sehorn, for Christ's sake. Jason Sehorn. But what it was one hell of a pass rush. Those guys got to the quarterback. Those guys made the quarterback shit bricks. And because they were there so quick, quarterbacks didn't have to hold up for about more than 2.5 seconds at most. They were getting turnovers. They were stopping the running game. They were making them one-dimensional, and when they had to pass, they were scared. It was the defensive line. As much as Eli Manning got the 2-time Super Bowl MVP, if it wasn't for that defense that kept giving them the ball over and over again, Eli Manning wouldn't have a ring. And they did not have great secondary play. It was the defensive line. And that and safety are the 2 places that I believe the Dallas Cowboys got to upgrade their tools. Sure, you can take a 1.5 horsepower router and put it in a table and make raised panels. But I got to tell you, let's see if I can turn this. This 3 horsepower shaper, this 300-pound beast, it takes big bits like this and spins them around like it's nothing. Try that with a 1 horsepower router on a table. It's all about having the right tools to get the job done. And the Dallas Cowboys, they need additional help at safety, and they need help in that defensive line. And you can sugarcoat it and you can talk about it costs too much money, but I'm telling you, Earl Thomas is a tool that we need in that toolkit. And a big beast. I'm talking, oh God. I'm telling you guys, I know I'm an idiot with the day job that's a carpenter and stuff, but I'm telling you, you get that guy, you're going to the Super Bowl. All right, I got some work to do.